was just talking to the RHRH1363 in chat, who I know who he is because he comes to the forum, which is there's the link to the forum. All right, I think I might as well turn this on now. I'm sharing my screen. Hopefully the music isn't too loud. The other day I had it a little too loud. All right, streaming now. There you are. Okay, so yesterday, quick review, I guess. Let's open the GitHub page. We deployed this successfully, so it should be here as well. It'll take a couple minutes or a couple seconds for it to pull out. This is the old site that we're transferring. So, quick overview. We're taking this site, which isn't even complete. What it is an interactive visualization of how to build HTML systems, starting from encoders. Hey, Electric Havoc, thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. So we're taking this, which is all written in D3 JavaScript, and transferring it into this application, which is an actual Next React.js application. So I'm using the React framework for things here. So all of the diagrams that I'm moving from this setup to another are now going to be all React diagrams that sort of encapsulate D3.js interactions and SVG displays, which is D3.js is a really excellent visualization library if you're in JavaScript working for the browser. It's really, really nice if you're trying to do vector graphics. And all it is just a DOM manipulation library, but the way that it integrates mathematical functions and ties to what you need to do when you render things in visual things is really, really, really nice. So I'm using all D3.js. We just finished up this one, which does this. It swaps, so it shows you how a cyclic encoder is the same thing essentially as a scalar encoder that just loops at the end, and how that's essentially just the shape of a circle when you're looping a line. And then we were just messing with this. This was the next thing we were doing, was showing how different values when encoded in different ways. For example, if I could make these overlap none at all if I wish. By setting the W properly, these two values would not overlap at all. If I change the W a little bit, now they do have some overlap. They do have some similarity. So that's the difference. Why you might be concerned about your encoder settings is if it matters to you if 4.7 has some semantic similarity with 6.1. Is it in your system? Is that important? Or should it be more discrete than that? And that's the next thing that we're going to talk about is discrete encodings. So the visualization that we're going to be essentially creating or moving is this one. So this is a discrete encoding of an integer value so that there is never any overlap. That's all we're talking about when we say discrete. That's your name in Korean? You could hear the pronunciation Google Translate. Okay, yeah, I'll try that. I'm always interested. I'm gonna go to Google Translate because I want to find out how to say his name. Let's try this. Hyung. Okay. Can I hear it? Hyun-song. How's that? Hyun-song. Thank you. I'm going to try and remember that. Hyun-song. Hyun-song. And that's Korean, right? Okay. Back to what we're doing. So we're gonna create this, and as you can see, I've sort of abandoned some of these controls that I had in the old one. This is a lot simpler. This is really what I want to display here is how these continuous encodings can introduce similarity between values, and I think this does this perfectly fine without all of these. This was overkill. It was just because I didn't want to put in the effort to make it drag. So we made it drag and everything looks good. I really like this. I do have a couple of bugs. If anyone is interested in working on some JavaScript, React.js, D3, this would be, a couple of these are just D3. This one, for example, is something, all the code would be in D3. And this one also, we uncovered this yesterday. It's just to center the labels on those Bezier curves. See, they're not quite centered. So if anyone's looking for something to do, these are kind of isolated things. Here's the one. Yeah, so it's related. Oh, no, this was about the changing the cursor. Excuse me. Microsoft wants me to install updates. No thanks. This is changing the cursor, so that's super easy. That's just going to be like on mouse over, on mouse out. But what we're working on is this discrete encoding diagram. That is this one that we haven't made yet, and that's the one I was talking about here. So I want to have. So I always like to. I want to rethink this a little bit before I do anything, because I want to make sure that the figure here, we're calling this figure 9, is illustrating the concept that we're trying to illustrate. So this is within the topic, discrete versus continuous, and this is about scalar value encoding, scalar number encoding. And we're showing the first figure, which is a continuous encoding. So maybe I could call this continuous versus discrete, but it doesn't matter. But I should probably label this continuous encoding. I don't want to get too far in the weeds here, but I'm going to use Visual Studio Code for an editor, which has a really outstanding feature of being able to live share. So I'm going to start a collaborative session, and so if anyone is following along, they can connect to this session if they're using Visual Studio Code. And I will also share my server once I get it started. So I'm going to start the server as well. There we go. So it's on localhost 3000, as you can see here. I'm going to close the version of this I have open. I'm going to close the README. I'm going to close the version of this. If you guys need a link for any reason, BHTMS, here's stuff. Here's a link. Okay, so I'm closing this Heroku application because I'm going to just look at everything at localhost now. And we are all the way down here on discrete versus continuous. And so I was going to just add a label here to make it a little bit clearer on, let's see, encoding numbers. And this is way down the page. Let's close. And I could see where I'm at. Way down the page here. Let's overlap. Here it is. That's the cyclic encoder. So I should put figure 7 maybe in parentheses, cyclic encoder. Not sure if I like that or not. And somehow I broke the... I thought that was in bold. It was... Okay, I'm not going to worry about these. I'm not going to worry about fixing up the text at this point. I just decided we're going to work on technical things. We're not going to work on messing with text. So we are going to create a new encoder, and it is. I think I can make it less complicated again. So I'm going to do a drag instead of a value bar. We'll do that exactly the same way. The tricky thing is, it's going to be a discrete drag, not a continuous drag. So we won't be able to just move it unless it's in the right place, I think. Or we snap to a value, you know what I mean? So yeah, so we'll just make it snap to a value as we're dragging it. So as you drag through it, it hits the closest value, something like that. W is configurable in the page defaults. So we'll just make N and W, whatever the page defaults are. And we'll assume that we'll have control of setting it in W. If someone scrolls to a certain diagram, we can set N and W, and everything will update. And the categories. So this is the tricky part because it affects the min and max values. Right, so this is just like a value bar, but the min and max is affected by how many categories there are. So yeah. So if we want, I do think we want to let the user somehow change the categories, but it doesn't need to be a slider. It could be just we could use the same number input that we currently have. So this could be, we could treat this as a global or page variable. Would be the easiest way to do it probably. So we'll have W in categories as global. The value is going to be specific to this. It's going to be local diagram state. So we're not going to bubble out the value because it's going to be a discrete value specific to this. So let's call this a discrete scalar encoder or discrete scalar diagram or something like that. We call this scalar overlap diagram. So now we're going to create a discrete encoding. Yeah, discrete. Discrete being the keyword here. New file, discrete scalar diagram. We'll just leave maybe I should make them all say encoder. Discrete scalar encoder, cyclic scalar encoder. So I didn't call those two diagrams, and I really should. I think, no, these are all inherently diagrams because they're in the diagrams folder. Sounds good to me. So let's call it discrete scalar encoder. And now I want to change the name of this. This is scalar overlap, and I want to take the diagram out. So let's see how good my tooling is. If I can rename this, but it's only going to rename it locally. Scalar overlap. Yeah, that's not going to change the file, and it won't change change this stuff. Okay, good. So we're going to add a discrete prop to scalar encoder. Oh, that's a good question. Let's see. Let's think about that. That's a good question. If we added a discrete property, we would only have to know how many, I guess, categories there were. We'd have to have a number of categories, and that's all we need to do. I think you're onto something there. I think you just kept me from making a mistake. So let's try that. Let's see if we can do it. We might as well try it. Okay, let's pretend that it works already. And say, let's take this whole structure, because I don't think this is, yeah, we'll just replace this a bit at a time. Bear with me. I don't have to type anything. I wanted that, okay. I'm gonna call it discrete encoding. And take this out. I'm rusty. You can tell I'm a rusty programmer. I should have caught that. That was a good catch. I think we can probably pretty easily do this. We won't have to do any. I probably would have gotten halfway through building the class before I realized that. Okay, we'll keep. Let's just give this all. Let's see. Let's give it all global state at first, because that's just easiest and we don't have to think about it. So, and then if this causes problems for us, if we want to tweak it, we can localize state. There's no value A, value B, and this isn't scalar overlap, obviously. It's going to be a simple scalar encoder. I would have found that pretty quickly. Okay. Actually, I think I already have this where I want it. Bounded. Yeah. I don't know. We're just going to ignore that. And we're not going to have a resolution, min and max, all that stuff. We just have to have a value, which is this list.state.value. For now, we'll keep it ourselves. Actually, I know that we're not gonna do this, so let's just send it a value. Let's just send it, I don't know, 5. I don't know, whatever. We'll figure that out. Hey Falco, it is just a diff encoder, and then I think it may be better if it's just a different encoder. No, it's not a different encoder. It's just a tweak to. Let me see. now I want to go look. I don't think it's a different encoder. Widgets. Is it in library displays? Cyclic category encoder. It's a category encoder, but a category encoder is super easy to create. So I might not have even created a category encoder. I'm not sure. Encoding numbers. This is still an encoding numbers. It's discrete encoding. So it is a different encoder. It's category encoder. But the category encoder. Let's look at this. I know exactly where it is. It's in the README here. Simple HTML encoders, category encoder. So it extends cyclic encoder, which extends scalar encoder, I think. Yeah. So all the cyclic encoder is change how the bit mask is applied so that it rounds about. And the category encoder just adds discrete categories, I think. So how did I do this? It's got an option called categories, which is, I think, a list of strings or a list of things, let's just say. And we make n. Oh, that's right. That's how we do this. That's how we do this. So we don't give it an n. We just give it a w and how many categories it should. Yeah, that's all you give it, an n and how many categories you want. So let me think now. What do I want to do? Hi Tachyon. Is a category encoder just a dictionary of where the active bits are based on pre-written dictionary of words or things? No, not the way I do it. The category encoder is just like a scalar encoder. Pretty much like it is a scalar encoder, just with a specific configuration. And you can see that in this code I'm looking at. The scalar, like I said, the cyclic encoder extends the scalar encoder, and all it does is apply a bit mask that rounds about. And the category encoder simply extends that cyclic encoder, and it sets specific values. It expects a W and a categories array, and that's it. And then it sets min and max itself based on how many categories there are. And it's basically just boop, boop, boop. It's just it turns the output length of the array into the same amount of categories you have, and just turns one bit on for each. Essentially, and you can by changing the W, you just change how many bits, right, that you want to represent each one. So it's super simple, super simple. And so the best way to create this, though, in the code, which is what I'm trying to think about here, and if we're going to be back in encoding numbers, this is where we want our. I'm thinking, I mean, all we're essentially doing here is creating a category encoder. Maybe we should just start off a category encoder. I'm not sure, because the other category encoders, because the next section goes on to categories. And then I have something entirely different, because this is a unique diagram. It's going to be something completely on its own. And then the next one is also another unique diagram. So we're just talking about 3 unique diagrams in a row. So let's see if we can make this one simply use the scalar overlap diagram. I'm gonna remove this right now because it is it's distracting me. it's too distracting. Hello, viewers. I was surprised to see so many people watching. If anybody wants an overview of what I'm doing, I can give it, but I'm making D3JS visualizations, and I'm trying to decide exactly how to create this diagram. Now I'm in the wrong place. So I'm going to say that I'm going to keep this as a simple scalar encoder. I think I can do it as a simple scalar encoder, but so I'm going to just do it the exact same way the category encoder code does it. I'm going to just create a scalar encoder with these, basically doing this. I'm going to give this thing the option W and a list of categories. But no, not even a list of categories, a number of categories. How many categories are we going to have? So let's do that. I'm going to give it W, which is, I don't think it is good. Let's keep it as state. There's no min and max. It's going to control its own min and max. I'm not even going to give it a value. Diagram width is fine. And the other thing was, let's just say category length, 10. Okay, so that's how many bits, that's what W is going to be. W is going to be 10. Okay. I think this is going to work. But I'm going to have to write some special code in the simple scalar encoder in order to do this. I think the better code thing would be, maybe it would be better to write just a small, exactly how I kind of did here in the category encoder, write a very small subclass of the scalar encoder diagram, call it a category encoder diagram, and just simply set up the previous like that. That would probably be a cleaner way to do it than adding a special condition inside the. So let's call this. Okay. Let's call this category encoder for now, knowing that we may end up changing all these names at some point because they might not make sense. And all I want to send it, diagram width, the W, and how many categories we want. And this is going to be changeable. The user is going to change this, and I'm probably going to pop it out. What do you mean, why scalar overlap? I don't understand that question. Let me turn on, let me join Discord in case anybody wants to talk. You can pop into the Discord live stream chat if you have something relevant, to what I'm doing. I don't want to just come in and like talk about, basketball. Okay, so I don't have a category yet. Oh, that's from 5 minutes ago. Okay, never mind. Hopefully I answered the question, or not. So if I were to do this, if I were to create a category scalar encoder, and again, I am not tied to these names. I'm probably going to come back and do some refactoring. Yeah, relevant discussion, Falco, please. I'm probably going to come back and do some refactoring. So just don't hold me to any of these names. I don't need to do this. I don't need a render. So I'm going to create a subclass of this that basically all it does is override the constructor and create a certain type of scalar encoder. I don't think I need any of this. So I'm just going to override the constructor, get my props, and call super with some new props that I'm going to create. Actually, I might just do object assign props and then put my new props right here. And that's all this class is going to be. We'll call it a, I don't know why I took a category scalar simple scalar encoder, let's just call it category encoder. Category encoder. Diagram. I don't know. I feel like now I do want to say diagram. Like I said, I'm going to change all the names probably. No, I want to change. I need to specifically. Actually, I'm not even going to do this. This isn't what I want to do. I want to create a completely new props object. New props, and I'm going to specifically put what I want in there. And give me a chance to do this, and I'll clean it up. This is what I need to do. I want to send it. I want to basically put that logic right where I am. I want it to have props w and not and bear with me here. I know this is not like going to work. Min and max, yes. This is how I want to set. Something like that. So I'm going to use my props to just create a very specific type of scalar encoder diagram. I think this might work. It seems crazy, right? Did I miss one? No. I got this. Right? I got the W right there. W's coming in. Whatever they send in, all I'm going to use is W and categories. So I'm expecting a categories. Oh, that props W. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Gotcha. This, like, my first live stream, Falco pointed out a bug to me in a test before I found it. Now people are just correcting them before I see them. It's crazy. All right. So let's try this out. I'm going to split this over. Let's see, encoding numbers, category, encoder diagram. Is that where we're at? Category, encoder diagram. Oops, not an F. This is our discrete. This isn't discrete coding. Am I in the right place? I might be putting this in the wrong place. Hello, thank you for the follow. It's much appreciated. I'm trying to figure out if I put this in the right place. I don't think. Oh, no, this is wrong. This is extends, sorry. This doesn't extend React component. This needs to extend scalar overlap diagram. So we need to import scalar, not overlap diagram, scalar, simple scalar encoder. From, how do I do this? I have to do dot simple scalar encoder, right? So that's what I want to extend. And I should be able to do this right. That was your question from 5 minutes ago. Yeah, like eventually I get to it, so I can get rid of all this crud. All I need. Yeah, all I need is that. That's it. Okay. Okay. I haven't tested any of this out yet. I'm still sort of I'm putting it in place. So we've got category encoder diagram. I still feel like cyclic encoder, scalar overlap. Okay, yeah, I'm calling this discrete encoding. What's tripping me up is I'm calling it discrete encoding, yet it's also category encoder diagram. So I need the width, the ID, the W is coming along with it. Category length, I'm just giving it 10. And so let's fix that, because I'm not actually giving it categories yet. We will eventually, but for right now, we're going to do the simplest thing. So that's what we're going to do. On update, I don't think this is going to update anything. So I think we can take this out. The value is going to be something that's internal. All right, let's see what broke. Let's see what we broke. Let's just, something's certainly broken. let me restart the server just because I've been moving stuff around and deleting things. If there's a compile error, I'd like to see something fresh. Yeah, so we do have some type of error. Category encoder diagram is not defined because I didn't import it. So that's easy. Just got to get import category encoder diagram from components. Oh, that's weird. Oh, I spelled import wrong. And it's still auto. It's still category encoder diagram from components, diagrams, category encoder. Get that, put that in your pipe and smoke it. All right. Okay, so let's see if there's any errors. There are errors. All right, what are the errors here? Failed prop type, oops. Index. Prop type, the prop in is marked required. Okay. I know that. So that is, we're not giving it an in, but we should be giving it an in. Okay, so let's put a debugger right here. And I expect this to trigger. Good. It triggered, okay. All right, times props.w 30. Okay, so we're sending an in. Let's step into this and see where we go when we get to the super. I'm stepping into, and I don't know where I'm stepping in and out of right now. It's something. Okay, so we got to simple scalar encoder. And do we have this dot props or something, or props? Oh, I just need to pass in. I should be passing in. That's why I'm concerned. Because then the category encoder has a value for this. At least this should be valid. So why it's not getting in when it goes up? Is it? Oh, it's because it's just a warning because I should override. I need to do a local override of that. I get it. I can do that. I will do that. That's a cleaner thing to do, right? So let me just copy the one we have here. And I expect this to work. I hope this works. This is just a React thing. I'm trying to sort of, I'm learning React as I go. So what this thing wants is W and category length for now. That's all it wants, and they're both required. So I think that warning is going to go away. Prop types is not defined because I have to import it. Prop types. Making this class a little bit more complicated. All right, so we got to the debugger. Let me take that out. You've just reused in as category length. Really? No, I think that's confusing because it's not. And in is different than category length. There will still be an in for this encoding, and it will not be category length. So I think that's confusing. Let's see. Okay, so we are in, that's just a warning. Calling super and category encoder diagram, make sure you pass up the same props that your components constructor was passed. No, that's not what I'm going to do. That's the whole point of this subclass, was to pass up different props or create my own props. I don't know why. That's a weird warning, isn't it? If you're writing object-oriented code, that's something you would do normally with object-oriented code bases. Okay, so the real problem is there's a number value that's not being calculated. So let's go to render value marker. That's going to be in simple scalar encoder, and this is could be tricky because no, because I initialize the parent constructor and then override any members. Oh, I see what you're saying. Do you think what I'm doing is a code smell here? Because I could do that. I could just pass super props up and then override stuff locally. But that seems a little more complicated. I think I'm gonna leave it. Right. So I'm afraid to put a breakpoint where I want to put a breakpoint because it's going to trigger on all of these other ones, and I don't really want to go through. Let's go back. Let me put that debugger back in. I want to check something. Let's put it in here. Let's do this. Let's let equal. I just want to inspect this easily for right now. I want to see what this looks like. And 30. That's right. So what am I missing? I'm certainly missing something in the props. I keep hitting the wrong button. Okay. Trying to get into simple scalar encoder again. See, that's the confusing thing to me is I want to debug into the constructor, but the constructor is magic. Oh man, I'm out of liquid. I will have to take a break. I've been going about an hour. I need to take a break and get something to drink. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't have a constructor. It's a magical constructor. I mean, it exists, right? React created it. You've never seen anything extended past React component? Has anyone else ever extended past React component in React? Am I doing something wrong? That seems like a natural thing to do. And when you're creating like libraries of components, it seems like that's like one of the reasons you would want to use React. You do it multiple times a day. Okay, as long as I'm not using it wrong. Because if I'm using React, I want to make sure that I'm doing it right. In general, OOP, you do it, but you don't do it in React. I feel like React sort of enforces the OOP model. So you might as well do it. You guys, I am going to be right back. I'm going to take a quick break because I need to go get something to drink. I don't have any water. I'll let you guys look out the window. I'll be right back. Oh, you know what? Before I leave, I just realized that Dave, you were connected. Why don't I share my? I knew you were going to be doing that. That's why I popped in. So I was like, he's going to be up there changing code. Localhost 3000. That's what I put in the first place. Okay, so David, can you see my server now? So anybody out there, you too, oh, and I forgot how to say your name now. Huensong? All right, you got it. You can actually run the server or be a client to my server now if you've joined the live session. Okay, I'll be back. Okay. I'm a little out of breath. Let's check up on the chat. So, Tachyon, you asked, research meeting didn't happen because I forgot that my son's 8th grade graduation promotion ceremony, whatever, was this morning. So I pushed it back, and then it ran long, and then I canceled it. Sorry. Okay. Oh, okay, I see what you're doing. So you're just doing all of that in one line. And what else did you change? Close this. I gotta take these headphones off. They're hot. I'm hot. I just ran up 4 flights of steps, down and then back up. So either pass augmented props to the parent or change the encoder to save min-max and etc. into the member vars. There we go. Value or 0. This makes sense to me. This is fine. It's interesting syntax. I've seen this spread. This is called a spread operator, right? So if you create an object and you spread an object as the first parameter, then all the rest are overrides, I'm assuming. And it will be immutable. Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, that makes sense. Interesting. So I wonder if I like to break stuff out, so. There we go. So what's going on right now? Is it still broken? I mean, it wasn't actually doing anything last time, so it's just 0, and I haven't been changing any of the values. Oh, here's the thing. We need to add the Bezier curves. So maybe this won't be the same. I forgot about that. The way I have this designed was, again, using this value call out, and that's what I wanted to be able to drag. And I do like that part of the design. I thought I called it out. I did, okay, as long as I did. For a while there we had like 20 something people. I don't know what's going on. And then I ran out of liquid and I had to go get some water and a Diet Coke. So I keep going back and forth on what I'm going to do here. Yeah, see, I don't like this. I think I'm going to create a new diagram because it's a combination. Honestly, it's a combination of this one because I want the Bezier curves and the labels and the drag It's a combination of that one and the simple scalar encoder. And yeah, it's just it's different enough. It's not going to be the same thing. I hate to say that, but I think that's the truth. It's overlap without value B. Is it that simple? But it's more than that. It's also adding the discrete part of it, which is really easy to do, but it affects the dragging behavior as well. Because you can't just set the value to whatever the drag is, because the value is discrete. So I don't know. It seems just different enough in just enough minor ways that we're going to probably end up creating a new one, which is what I started to do in the first place. I mean, I know I'm going back and forth about this a lot, but I don't think this is going to work the way I want. At least I'm going to be copying code and from another component into this one, and that's what I was trying to get around. Yeah, the value will be encoded differently. It'll be by a category encoder. Oh, so you're saying that, oh yeah, so the drag action actually will work. The encoder is going to take care of snapping to a value. I think that's true. So maybe we should play around with extending the other one, the scalar overlap diagram instead. Do you think that's a viable course of investigation? We could at least try it out and see how hard it would be. I mean, it's sort of simple. What props are we're getting value A and value B here, so we're going to have different. We'll ignore, we could just say value is props.value A, ignore anything. No, that's not right, because the props, we'll send it a value. Hi, thank you for the follow, Anand Suresh. I appreciate you chiming in, or clicking that button up there. We're working on a D3 application in React. So we're sort of wrapping D3 diagrams, I'm calling them, in React components and discovering all of the things you have to do to make that work. Okay, so this is why this isn't going to work. So if I override scalar overlap here, let's go see, I want to go see what it looks like. Simple scalar encoding numbers. So scalar overlap diagram, I'm using it. I know I'm using it. Oh, here, I called it something different. So I am sending it min-max, NW, value A, value B. So that's that's what I'm going to have to provide to, well, no. If I extend this, I could just hide, I'll just provide the value A and value B. It'll be the same value, and I'll hide one of them. How about that? A discrete prop that will drive the encoder selection, and disable value B or something that turn it off. Let's see, let's look at it a little more. Let me take, okay, what did I? Let me turn this off. Is that where I broke it? No, I'm actually in category scalar encoder. Category, I've changed, all these names are bad. Hold on. I just want to get it to compile for a moment. Category encoder diagram, that's the one I'm working on. Where else am I defining that? Oh, is this where I was doing it? Yeah, I guess it was. Why did I undo this? That's what I was trying to show. Just undid the wrong thing here. Comment it out, not undo. Okay. All right, so if we, sorry. There's the fire truck. Here it comes, everybody. Fire truck break. Watsonville Fire Department. All right. That happens a lot. Usually I just mute the mic. Okay, imagine if all I want is to show one of these values. Oh, you know what would be amazing? What if we sent in the same value as both and always kept them the same? But then when you drug one, it would only grab one. No, so that's not going to work. I was just thinking, like, this is what we want. We want this, but discrete. So we need to use a different encoder for sure, category encoder, and we just need to hide a value. So I bet we'd have to subclass this scalar overlap. This would be kind of weird. But it's the display that we're subclassing. I have to keep that in mind. It's the display we're subclassing, not the functionality. So, so David says you could pass that state, that value A to both values. It would keep in sync, but the drag wouldn't work. That's what I was just thinking. The drag wouldn't work unless we forced it, which we could. Well, if we hid one component, if we said display none on one of those, then it would work, right? All right, let's do that. So let's do that. Yeah, oh, that's true. You're right. It would work. You're right. That would totally work. Okay. All right. So what are we going to call this? I'm calling it in here discrete encoding. So let's call this not category encoder diagram. I know I've changed the name so many times. Discrete encoding diagram, because it's very specific. We're not really doing a category. It's not a category. That's what we're getting to. That's what we're trying to. Mark says you have a stream to tap into to talk here. What do you mean by that? Just add yourself. I'm sorry, I don't get what you're saying, Mark. I'm not thinking. Oh, on Discord. Oh, I can hear you guys. I can hear David. Hold on. Probably hear better like this. I know you can't. Mark can't because he's at work. But I see Dave's attached to it, so yeah, I didn't know if you were attached or not, but I think I've been on it the whole time. But I think we're on the same page here. I think I'm just going to change some names, and we're gonna extend this scalar overlap diagram. And again, please bear with me. I'm going to change all these names most likely, and we're going to send in W and category length. And we're going to set a specific encoder, right? Need to use category encoder. I'm just putting notes to do. Use a category encoder. And this is basically override parent props in and max. So those are the only two things we need to override. If this is the right way to do it, maybe that's great. Let's do this. Hey, thank you, Richard, for hosting me. Yeah. Does this make sense to you, Dave? I think?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to go look at the overlap diagram here. So since we don't have a constructor here, we have I assume there's a constructor, and this gets executed in the constructor. After we run that, this is where we want to override and use our own encoder. But we also have this reset encoder function. Maybe that's the place we need to, because it gets set here. Like it gets recreated every time. So this is really what we need to override. And then we can control the values and the encodings. We can only just have, yeah. So let's just override this and use our own encoder.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. If I was saying like a discrete prop, you know, if it's discrete, it would choose the one of the, but I like it like that.
Okay. Yeah, you would choose it here, yeah. Okay, let's then, so we know what encoder we're going to use. We're going to have this cyclic encoder, which I guess I don't need to. Wait a minute, that's not what I wanted to do. This is what I want. Category encoder, not cyclic encoder. This seems better. Sorry, cleaning a little as I go. Okay, so we're going to always use a category encoder. We're not going to have a bounded. We're not pulling bounded out. We're not going to use that at all. And this will definitely be a category encoder. And that has, all it takes is W, and category length, which is in our props. Oh, which is basically what we're going to pull out here. Category length, W, right? Yeah. So, and the other thing that we're going to do, so we're using the category encoder. We don't need to do this anymore. We can just send props up. Right? This isn't going to matter. I don't think that's going to matter. Maybe we can get rid of this. So if all we're doing is resetting the encoder, the other thing that we need to do is control the value. The value A and value B have to be synced. They have to be the same. And those are controlled from the outside. So what if we just sent the same, if we created a global value, let's call it, for the sake of argument, let's just call it value C. Because that makes total sense, right? And then we created this, and we passed in value A. Does this make any sense? This dot state dot value C, and then we just do that twice. Again, knowing that we might change the names of things. So we're gonna give it the same value, and we'll control it from the outside. So okay. Yeah, an on update that will update value C. I'm gonna grab that from somewhere else. Did I get that? So what's gonna, this is gonna be up, okay, no, that'll be fine. That'll be fine, won't it? But this will then change the values of A and B. Let's just see what it does. I have a feeling this isn't gonna be fine, actually. Once.
Oh yeah, because the hard-coded value A and value B is the ID in the driving cycle.
That's another reason I don't think it'll be fine. Okay, let's just see what happens here. Discrete. Oh, I've got all my names still wrong. Discrete encoding diagram. Category encoding diagram. No, let's call this discrete encoding diagram. Discrete encoding diagram. And I think I named it, yeah, properly here. Let's just see it. Can't resolve the module. This is still just components diagrams. Did I rename it something funny? I'm still calling it category encoder. It's category scalar encoder. So let me change the name. Discrete coding diagram. Okay. Cannot read length of undefined category. Oh, that's in encoders. So it's not. Oh, okay. So I don't think we can send it. The encoder expects an array of categories, and I don't think it cares what's in them. So we can't just use a length. We do have to send it an array of something. So I think we can easily enough do that. Actually, we could do it right here. Instead of, well, this is it. This is it, isn't it? Let me go back and look at the code. Category, it's not categories. So it just needs to be an array called categories with a length, or an object with a length. Okay, let's do this real stupid. Categories. Hold on.
All you want to do is take the length and then just create like an array of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up to the length.
Yeah, but I don't think it matters what's in them at all. So
Okay,
I don't know if this is going to work or not. Whoops. Whoops. Okay, so it does need to be an array. I was trying to hack it and it didn't work. So so instead of this, yeah, we want an array. I think you can just say new array of length, category length, and it can be empty, I think. I call the category encoder. So yeah, it needs to be an index. Sorry, what?
I think it can't be empty because the code values.
Yeah, but it can. Oh, you're right. You're right. Dang it. So, how would you create an array of 1, 2, 3? Probably knows better. Array from. Okay, that makes sense. So it's just doing the indices. Is array from a Harmony thing? It doesn't look familiar to me.
Yeah, it's maybe ES6.
I learned JavaScript before ES6, and so I'm still a lot of hard-coded stuff in my brain.
And then JScript.
You did. Wow. Okay. I'm burning out a little here. Let's see. What do we got? We got a lot of nada numbers. A lot of things that aren't working. We need to get a debugger in here somewhere. Let's put it right here. Yeah. Obviously, there's stuff going on wrong here. This diagram. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. Did we have that in the wrong place? Oh, you revised it even further. I'm gonna put a debugger right here, so I'm gonna see what this is doing. All right, so the encoder worked, categories worked, perfect. And so value A and value B are both 6. Maybe that fixed it. Well, there's still a ton of errors. And I'm sure that, okay, so why would that, it has to be because value A and value, so I'm gonna keep that debugger there and step out. Render output cells, that's what I want to get into. Okay, where we create the, going pop, 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 pop. All right, the dual encoding. Okay, here we go. This encoding A, so we've got encoding A and encoding B, and they're probably exactly the same. They're all, I don't know what they are, but we're gonna create a dual encoding. This should all still work. select all rect. The data is dual encoding. Each one is A and B. Let's see if we have recs. 300 of them. Treating them, so it was in here somewhere, and probably, I don't know why this wouldn't work. Because the value looked like, or the error, excuse me, the not a number looked like it was coming from somewhere in here. That looked like the D3 rendering problem. Usually that's when like the data that it got to create its elements isn't really data, or there's something wrong with the data. So I would expect there to be something wrong here. But there's not. The data looks good. Maybe it's this. Could be bits to output display. Let's see, DI, bits to output display. That's just a scale. That should be fine. No, it's not. Okay, so here's the problem. Bits to output display. It's defined right here. Oh, okay. Orient D3. When we create this, we're using N. We're only using N. This needs to be recreated. It is recreated after the encoder. After we run reset encoder and create it, we do this and we use N. N is a value that this extension is calculating itself. Yeah. Where is it? Actually, we're not doing that anymore. We're not controlling N anymore. That's the problem. We still need to control N.
Yeah, I think maybe I would just put this stuff.
No, I know how to do it. Hold on. I know how to do it. We can get N from the encoder. Yeah, we can get N from the encoder. And we can do this safely in here. We can say this dot encoder dot N. I'll bet this fixes it. Whoops. Okay, we'll know right here. Yay! So we didn't get in out a number, so that's good. Okay, so all those, so there's no longer like 1,300 errors, there's only 306, so we're on the right path. So this still looks like a similar sort of problem, but here, what was that error? Text, X, and D. No, rect attribute width expected length. Rect attribute width. So let's look at that. Rect attribute width, cell width.
Is the N and W stuff on the props in the parent?
Yeah, maybe you're right. There's probably somewhere else that we're using dot N. Whole word, is that it? No. This? There's one, only one? Oh, right here. No, that's just where we were getting it before. Hold on. There's got to be somewhere else. Oh, we have to do it. No, I'm sorry. No. Reset encoder is called after. That's the problem. Reset encoder is called first, and then orient 3D is called. No, that's fine. That's good. That's the way it should be called. And I confirm that this scale was returning a real value. So I don't think this. I think we're looking at another problem now, and it's got to be in this rectangle width. This is it. Oh, you're already there. You're already there. Yeah. So that's the one. I feel like always one step better. This isn't fair. Made me look bad. Okay. And I didn't find it because I was searching for .n like a goober. All right. We're getting close here. I'm going to take this debugger out, honestly.
Get get range. That's the get range from bit index. That's the min and max and W and stuff from the encoder. So that should be good.
I think so.
Oh.
I think so. Wait, where is it? Are you talking about a line in the encoder, or? I don't know, let's just see what works. Hey, it worked. I can't, oh no, look. Okay, so we can't use IDs anymore. Because these are, all three of these are the same ID. So, okay, so that's okay. We were gonna use class, the only reason we did IDs was because we were getting frustrated getting the classes off of them for some really, I don't understand why we were having such trouble with that. All right. So that is in scalar overlap diagram. Let me, and all the way down here, this stuff. So we already have a class name value A here, so we can't reuse that class name. And we're using this to easily identify something in the code too. So we could make it a data attribute.
Either that or just have it prop that says don't render value.
It says don't render what?
Value B. The value B one.
Oh, yeah, but we can't have two IDs. This component might be in the page several times. We shouldn't have used ID ever. We should have ID'd off of the SVG. So I think we need to get rid of the ID. So,
ID
yeah, I could do that. I guess that'd be sort of pretty simple. Let's do that. That seems like the simplest way to do it. Do I have to put a... Is that going to work? The IDE didn't like it. Oh, back. Yeah, okay. String template. That didn't like that either. Now here, wait, don't move. If I undo, it undoes mine and yours. That's funny. So I bet this works, and the IDE's just.
It's not a string. Instead of quotes.
Curly braces instead of quotes? Oh, I see what you're saying. But what about the value A, junk? Do I have to put? Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Like that. Okay.
And then just in the selector, pull from that.
Can-
and strip out the ID there.
So I don't need the dot props in this. I can say this.id. Did we assign it? I never did assign it to a local value.
You did or didn't?
I did not. So I think I need the dot props.
Then you need to pull up that.
Yeah. That's the thing about, thing about the magical stuff that these frameworks do for you is you can't remember sometimes what's magic and what's not. I remember when Rails started and Grails and Rails and Grails and all those web frameworks that started doing all this stuff for you. And there was a lot of backlash from some people. Falco says my voice is a little quiet. I don't know how to do connection info. No. I don't know how to change my. I mean, I think this is as good as it's going to get. I could turn my gain up on my microphone, but. You already totally beat me to, whoops, I screwed that up. Oh, sorry. I hit undo on something I accidentally typed and it undid what you were doing. This is like totally different from pair programming. It's like simultaneously pair programming.
Like concurrent.
Yeah, parallel programming. That's a good word for it. Synchronized programming. I'm not very synced. So what are we doing here? So this is the drag handler. And we're saying on drag, we're updating
Basically stripping out the extra component ID dash so that it gets it.
yeah, just this bit. Yeah. Complicates that key quite a bit. Can we pull this out into some variable so it's not so, I don't know what to call it though. Key, I guess. Component key, I don't know. I think in this context a key is fine. So, oops. Do you make anything you possibly can constant? Is that like the good way to do it in Harmony?
Yeah, the values I can change to constant. Oh, but you know what? That key is going to be this dot props.
Yep. And this dot prop's already there, okay. And so, right. So this is going to update whichever value was dragged, which is basically the same. Let's see what broke. Yeah, there it is. It did. This ID of this element dot this. Oh yeah. Right, because this is something different. Not this, the other this. All right, so when I drag it, something else broke. 139 again. So this is undefined. Oh, wait a minute. This should be the text element. All right, let me put a debugger when we drag.
This is the same thing we were getting yesterday.
This is really frustrating because, yeah, what I'm getting in my debugging environment doesn't seem to be what is running in the actual environment. Because when I was doing this before, I could say this .id, and there it is. But when the debugger's not on, this is something different, which I don't get. It's just console. No, even before dragging, there's something else wrong. So before I even drag, let's fix these. Something still with the text attribute X. So we figured the Wix, so X and D are bad. Let's look at X for text first. That is the label. Select all text, like that. Hold on a second. Yeah. This label, I'm setting an X on it somewhere. Here it is. Why would that ever be not a number? That would never be not a number. Unless the encoder is returning not a number here. So that might be the case. This, I don't want this to trigger every, well, that's fine. I will let it. We'll at least see if that encoder is not a number. What value is it? It's index. Index is 40. Let's put a watch. Index is 50. Index is 180. So this is where I expect it to be not a number. Something's wrong here though. W is 30, left value. Something's not a number. Cell width. Why is cell width not a number? It's because of this in again. Okay, so simple fix. Simple fix. We have another in that needs to be. Isn't this the exact same place that we did before? Is this only used once? No, it's used twice. Okay. I'm hoping that's the end of it. Oh, that's good. That's better. Okay, all those went away. This doesn't look right, but okay, drag doesn't work, but there's still some stuff that's wrong. Does this work? No, but the W does. Okay, okay. It's snapping to values, but that's interesting. Okay. That's interesting. So it's keeping n constant because n is, it controls its own n and it's based upon how many categories there are. Let's add a category counter or category that we can change because I want to see it change. Category length. Yeah, this should work. 10. Then that's what we'll pass in down here. And let's create a parameter for it so we can change it. I'm loving this, David, just being able, excuse me, to just create one of these number values, attach it to one of the globals, and then put it anywhere on the page. That's great. Let's just call this category length. It's not what I'm going to end up using, but that's what we're going to do. Yeah, I do need to do that. High, low, step. Let's do low 1, high 30, step 1. No, step. Step is assumed to be 1. Let's make it 55. Okay. And we put it down by it, and let's just put it right here. So as we change this, it should affect it, and it does. Okay, so we're in the ballpark. Let's say we're in the ballpark. Okay, yeah. So hi, Scrag. Thanks for helping out. Bye, Richard. He's probably gone already. Yeah, that's. I know that there's problems with the drag function, and I'm trying to put them off until I could get this rendering, at least rendering and seeing the differences when I change things. And before I start messing with drag, because as soon as I start dragging it breaks, and it might be because of binding like you said, before I do that, whoops, I want to address the UI issues that I can see right now. This 6 value should be here. And the Bezier curve should start and stop around that value. Obviously, it's not happening. That's very strange.
Yeah, it's probably because both of them are firing on set state, and it's rendering and going into like a loop.
Oh, so, oh, that's, yeah, that's weird.
But what happens if we take out that on update command? See
All right.
and making that drag and arrow function move on this to the actual encoder, which is why I had to change it to otherwise there's this overridden by the encoder instead of the text.
Ah. Yeah, this drag. You're talking about this function here. If we made that an arrow function. We did at some point when we put it back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we're expecting this to be in here is the text element. Excuse me. I think this is, I still want to deal with why this is happening, and I think I can get into it. I'm going to turn off the one before this one. I'm just going to comment it out. Why did that happen? That's weird. I think that's left over from a comment. I'm going to take this whole thing out because I want to debug it, and I only want to drop into this one thing. So get range from bit index is certainly wrong, but let's go with the simpler one. The 6 isn't drawn in the right place, and it's probably because I don't know exactly why. Like this only updates once, and even without dragging, it should be in the right place. We're telling it C, which I made 6. I'm just curious. Okay, bear with me. I'm just curious what's happened here. So just okay, hold on. Bear with me once again. So check this out. What if I'm going to turn this one off and turn the other one on, and I'm going to send the same value in for both of them, and I want to see what it does. All right, so this should work. This should have our old one, and these should both drag. No, it doesn't. How the hell is this undefined? Oh, we can't call this .props in here. We're expecting this to be something here and something different here. Yeah. So that could be the root of some of this. If I could find I can never find it. There we go. So this is going to be me. Okay. So this is working. Now, if I change this now to discrete encoding diagram, it should work. It might not. Well, it should be discrete. It will ignore min and max. It will ignore n. Yeah, I would need a category length. Okay, let's forget about that. I think maybe we found one of our problems. I had a feeling something was wrong up there. These should all work together. Okay, good, good. This one's still off, and the drag still causes a problem because there's no on update. I mean, we could just add a check for that. I took it out of here. If I put it back, let's see. Yeah, so that's not really what I want, so I don't want to do an on update. And it's not rendering itself because that's not the, because I'm not letting it get set. I'm not, yeah. Because value C is not changing, right? So that's why it's not rendering. So I could customize this and put a function. Well, I could just do this. Okay. Okay, that something happened. This still works. That's one of the things I need to work.
Well, it's not a value.
Oh, I have to say value dot value C. Or, sorry, value. Well, I don't know. I guess.
I think you do object dot value. Object dot value.
Like this. Of value. I thought value was the whole state object.
Yeah.
Or whatever's changed as a state object, like whatever the overrides. Cut. Yeah. Did I do it right?
Yeah, it should be that.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so the drag is sort of working, but we still have all these text X errors that are coming from putting the label. I don't know. I haven't quite figured out why that's happening. But the scales are certainly wrong. So we're going to have to fix the scales. They're the same scales I'm using. And when I say scales, I mean the linear interpolation functions that translate a number from the pixel range that people are interacting with to the value range between the min and the max, and vice versa. So D3, I've got scales set up to go in both directions. In two ways. There's one for the bucket indices, and there's one for like where the value would be placed along that pixel range as well. So the pixel range is the UI, the range of pixels the user interacts with, and the two scales I'm working with are scaled to the value range 0 to 10 or whatever the min and max are, and to the actual bit indices of the output cells that you see here. So those are those two scales. Both directions are the ones we're working with. And in D3, you create scales like this all the time for graphs and charts and stuff. I don't know, it works nice. There's a lot of tools around linear interpolation. So these scales are wrong. This isn't right. So this one looks like it's like 50% off, 60, 70% off for some reason. I don't know why. And the other one for these, there's also a scale that tries and translates. First of all, the value is just wrong. I don't know what the max is because the encoder calculates that. I can drag it all the way over there. Okay. So I'm going to shoot in the dark a little bit here and see if I can figure out what's going on here. And if I can't, well, we'll see. But it's got to be get range from bit index, draw bracket. So definitely draw bracket is having a problem. So let's actually start with the text label because it's in the wrong place. Maybe that's the simplest place to start. The text label, the X value for that text label is in the wrong place. So maybe we'll start right there. So when we draw a bracket, we're doing this twice, but we're really only doing it We really only need to be doing it once. And actually, what I'll do here is I'll just put, can I just add, I want to basically display none. I can do that with CSS, right? Style, local style or something like that. Style equals, and then I can put display none. Shouldn't something like that work?
You need an object inside the, so it has an object.
An object inside the object, the thing. Oops, didn't like that. Oh, like this.
Yeah.
This should still work the way it was working. Yeah. Oh. All right, so let's find that text label. So this isn't going to show. We're going to be looking for this text label thing, and we found it last time right here. So this CX, and it was because the cell width was wrong. Every time we've done this, it's because the cell width was wrong. I'm going to stop here and see what's not a number. Okay, everything seems to be a number at this point. CX is 210. Oh, it's not that it's not a number, it's just that it's wrong. So why would it be different in one of these and not the other? That's the question. So when I do, oh, whoops, I can't do that, of course. I just realized I wasn't in a subclass. I can't do that. As simple as that. Let's just leave it for now. I'll deal with it later. Okay, re-render. So this is perfectly fine and exactly where it should be, and this one's not. It's the same code. The only difference in this is how the encoder this is interesting. It has to be like if I did this. No, I can't do that. But it has to be something here.
Do you need like a max, min, zero, max category,
No, because the category encoder creates those.
So you got like category length there. Do you use that in there?
Yes, I send it. I use it to decide how many category, the size of this array, essentially.
Oh, so
And then the category encoder just expects there to be a W and then a category array with unique elements in it. And then
what does it use for n?
right here, it takes the length of categories and multiplies it by the size of W. So it creates an output encoding space, exactly the right space to discretely fit the exact amount of categories you said you wanted with the W window size you wanted. So the min and max, min's always 0 and max is always how many categories there are. And I mean, the simplest case is think of n as the amount of categories you have and W is 1. That way there's 1 bit on for each category, and if you've got 10 categories, you've got 10 bits and 1 for each. And then as you multiply W, you can make it 20 bits, 2 on for each, 30 bits, 3 on for each, etc. So it's just odd that the scales are off. I don't understand why whatever's creating CX here. Side gutter shouldn't be the issue. Index times cell width. So the cell width, it's like encoder in is wrong. This dot encoder. Oh, this is a scalar encoder. This shouldn't be a scalar encoder, should it? Oh, this is the other one. Sorry, the other one was rendering. Scalar encoder, scalar. This is still continuous overlap. Okay, this is the discrete encoding. This should not be a scalar encoder. Okay, it's a category encoder. And n is 300. Diagram width is 500. Max is 10 on the category encoder. Oh, I don't know if I'd pay attention to those underscored values, but that doesn't seem right. I think max might be sort of calculated on the fly, and these are just I wouldn't trust them. But it's not the encoding that's wrong. It's the cell width that's wrong. What is this cell width? It should be very small, 1. I'm gonna change the parameters so that they're a little bit simpler. That maybe I can tell the difference a little better. Let's change n to like 30 and w to 2. Okay. So here, let's stop. I'll drag you a little bit. 1, 2, 3. I think this is now, we're in the discrete encoding. Yeah, so we're in the right place. Cell width is 25. N is 20. N is 20? I just set n to 30. Oh, wait, n's, oh yeah, I forget, this diagram's not paying attention to global n, to the page level n. It's creating its own n value based on the categories in the W. I'm gonna make this really simple. Let's do 1 and 10. That way, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we're at 6. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so the encoding is correct. The label's not quite in the right place. And the other things, the Bezier curves are not in the right place. Oh, I see. Oh, I see. One thing that's happening here is we do need to snap, or to basically floor or ceiling or snap to a value, because it's only displaying the output when it's exactly the right value. I'm not sure exactly why that's happening.
So like the drag will just be floor.
No, because that won't always work. It has to be a little more than that, because the categories could contain ranges of numbers. So they could be really big. I mean, they're not really. It could contain 6 to 50. You know, the next one's 50 to 100 or 94 or whatever. I feel like this is the problem, and.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, because the values are only 0 through 9. So the hover would have to would have to translate the x into the value of the category.
Yeah. That's supposed to be what it's doing. I thought that's what it was doing. Here in the hover, where's the hover? I always lose it. Right there. This val to screen invert, that's what that's doing. It's taking the x value and it's taking the linear interpolation for value to screen and basically going screen to value with the invert and translating it. And this works for the ones up above. So I know this is working. I don't think this is the problem. Hey, look, it's up. The same thing's happening up here. Oh, you know what? I'm looking at a different problem. I actually have this documented here in Trello. There's a little bit of a bug here that I think that we're seeing is with these Bezier curves. I think that's what we're seeing. Now, this isn't the same problem as this. This is different because I think this is different. Maybe it's not different. There's still something wrong with this. Okay, so I can't quite tell. One of the reasons is because we need to, let's look at the code. Let's look at my other code. I hate to do that, but because this worked really pretty much exactly how I wanted it, like this. So whatever I'm doing here is what I want to be doing. So I'm going to take a quick look at that and see if I can decode it. This was called discrete encoding. Okay, set up that GUI, draw bracket, draw brackets, treat rectangles, create encoder. So hey, look at this. So I'm doing something a little different here. I'm creating the rectangle width, and I'm using the encoder's end value. So maybe this is something I'm already doing. This is basically, I'm already doing this, but this seems different. I'm creating a new scale. Every time I create an encoder, I'm creating a new scale called output range scale. This is apparently takes the output range. I assume that's the cells, like the indices of the cells, and maps it to a UI range. So I can take an index from the encoder and map it to a place on the screen. And it's remapping it every time we create an encoder, it recreates the scale. So I think we have to do this. And how is this used? It's used when we're finding the brackets left and right. So how did we do this in the scalar overlap diagram when we were creating the brackets left and right? We used val to screen. And this one used, where was it? Where was the, I was just looking at it. Discrete code. So here, left x equals the max output range scale versus, and I used val to screen. And oh, I see. I think I see. So I actually got the index and the value for both of them, and I used the value to get the index from the encoder. Well, that's not what I did here. Whoops. So I think I can do this. I think I can do exactly this. This is, I remember copying this and complaining because I used that let in that way and I hated it. Let left index encoder dot reverse scale index. I should still have an index. And basically there's the same for right index. But not index, it's index plus W.
So it's familiar like it when you remove it.
I know, I do too. I was like, I don't need that. So now this output range scale, I will have to basically recreate every time we create a new encoder. I think I just copied it. So whatever this is doing, I'm gonna create that in the. I'm gonna do it, yeah, in this class. Reset encoder. Okay, let's do it before we actually set the encodings. Let's just say this dot output range scale. And the UI range, it's not the UI range, it is this essentially. Hold on a second. This is the same thing. This is what I'm doing here. I'm just calling it bits to output display instead of output range scale. This is exactly the same thing. I could do this, which is exactly the same. That is what the output range is. So I'm just going to use this. I'm going to use bits to output display. But I have to recreate this essentially every time. No, because orient 3D3 is going to come after reset encoder every time. So I don't have to do this here. It's already being done. I just have to reuse it. I have to use bits to output display. I already have it. That's in output cells. Now in brackets, bits to output display, left index, bits to output display, right index. Okay. I'm not certain about this. I'm not certain about anything. Encoder is not defined. That's 67. Hey, sorry, I've been ignoring you guys on chat. I've just been like hyper focused on this. Sisiaman, which is for you the best model to approach forecasting for data that have seasonality? Well, you need something that can understand temporal data, which is hard for most deep learning systems. So it's one of the things HTM is good at, especially if you want to do anomaly detection. So you could certainly look into something called HTM, which is what I work on. Okay, bits to output display. I forgot where I was. Oh, I was looking for 67. You fixed it, okay.
Yeah, I fixed it. Yeah. Oh, it looks better now. Just, how do they line up?
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Holy cow. That might have just fixed everything. We found the magic thing to do. Okay, so let me reset some of these values so they are back. Let's take that back to normal. We still have value C. Ooh, what happened there? That's not what I wanted to see. That's not right.
Oh, you broke it on mine.
Yeah. All I did was change the, let's see if we can see this a little bit better with different values now. Okay, don't panic. It's got to be this. I'm gonna stop here. It's always one wide, yeah. Oh, I think maybe this was just a copy paste error. Oh, where was I? Left index, right index. Maybe something's wrong with that. Left index. Something's wrong with left index, right index. I'm not using left value, right value anymore. So that's the only thing I was using it for was to get I'm getting it more directly. Before I was like translating it, I was scaling it twice, which was kind of silly. So if I have an index and I'm calling reverse scale, this reverse scale is kind of silly. I don't think I need to do that. If I look at this, it's the scale we're getting it from is the scalar encoder. And I think I added something like reverse scale here as a convenience. Did I not? Yeah. There it is. So I create one scale, which is the main scale that translates the input domain to the output range. The input domain being min and max, the output range being 0 to however many bits there are. And the reverse scale is the opposite, which is fine. I could certainly use that. The output range to the input domain. So if you want to take an index, which is what I'm doing here, and get left index. This is going to be the left pixel value, left x. This is this should work. That's what I'm not understanding here. I don't understand why this doesn't work. Okay, let's put a debugger here. I'll get a better understanding. Okay. All right. Our left index is 4. Is that right? 20. This is a scalar encoder. This is not the one I was looking for. 2, 3. I think it's the third one. Yeah. Okay, so we're in the right place now. Output range. That's not where I want to stop. Here we go. Left index is 6, so we are at index 60. Value 6, name value A. Cell width 5. We have our props are 10 and the N is 100. Yeah, cell width is 5. This makes sense so far. Encoder. Left path, right path. Those are all just before we really doing anything. So I'm getting the encoder's scale, scaling the current value, which is 6, so I can get the index where we need to start drawing the bracket to, I think. Yeah, and then we say, okay, the left index, and this isn't a pixel value, it's the index where we should start. So based on the index, we call reverse scale to get a pixel value for the left part of that, which is apparently 6, which is not right. Where were we? I want the console. Go away. There we go. Okay. Console. This dot where was I? Oh, no, encoder dot reverse scale index. Left index is not right. Encoder code value. All right, that's the bits. That looks fine. Encoder dot scale. So if I want to call scale, and I send it the value It's going to give me 60. Hey, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Thanks, Falco. Thanks for the nudge. Yeah, check out our forum. I'm sorry I'm not being very attentive to you guys in chat because I'm trying to solve a technical problem here. And it's taking... I'm not being very successful at the moment. So I'm trying to scale from the index to the index plus W, which is so how long I want, how many bits are on. So this left index should be... should not be. This scale seems wrong to me. This reverse scales. This just doesn't seem right. It's obviously wrong. It's not doing the right thing. No, it's not. So what I'm doing is I'm starting at the index where I know this index 60 is telling me right here, and then the index plus W is right here plus W, and this is the right side. So this should be the left pixel start. This should be right x. So left x, right x in pixels. That's what I should be getting here, and they're obviously totally wrong. So left x is it's going to be. And it's because my index is wrong. This index, reverse scale. Now, I think I'm just doing something wrong here. I already have the index. The left index is 60. The right index is 60 plus something else. Thank you for the follow. I totally missed you. Just followed me. Sorry. Because I'm close. I know I'm close. I'm like I'm really close to solving this problem, and it has something to do with like me overcomplicating how I'm using these linear interpolation scales. So if this index represents this right here, I'm trying to get the pixel value of this. All I should have to do is send to the encoder. Yeah, I think that taking out. I think that's it. I think that's true. I think I've got like one too many scales going on here. So if I took this out, so for example, so I don't have a left index, right index. I do actually, because let left index equal index plus, index, let, oh god, right index equal index plus W, which is essentially what I just said, and that's what I should use for the indices. I was translating back and forth, I think. Let's see. Yeah, but oof, sort of. Let me take this debugger out. What did we start with? We used to have all this jazz in there. Left value. I was using a value, and I don't think you ever have to use the value. So I was translating back and forth and back when I didn't have to at all. So it was just overcomplicated, and we don't even need. Let's put this right here. I'm not sure why these are off a little yet, and this is not. Oh, it's still, it needs to be, yeah, look, it's right, it's spot on. When it hits it, it's spot on, but these are not. So something's still weird. Because this is the same code running both. Isn't that odd? What would be different? The only thing that's different are the encoders. Yes, good catch. Good catch. Huang, I forgot to say it again. Huang Song. Close. So, if the only difference here is in the
What is the left end of it? Is it like divided by 2 thing that you were doing before?
why would it be any different though between this one and that's what I'm not understanding. But you're right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's it. But I'm concerned because why does this one look great?
I think it because the one index is just value and it's discrete.
Oh. No, I think maybe you're right. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's it. Okay, so what was the divided by 2 thing that I was even doing? So instead of so apparently index 1, I'm not. Oh right. I'm not separating it. I do. I have to. That's the center. So I need to subtract half of W essentially. So it could be minus W minus 2, and not minus 2 divided by 2. I guess I don't really need parens. This will be a little off. No, it won't be. It won't be perfect. Now this is a little off. I don't get it. Why is that off? Why is that off? It has to be something to do with the encoder. It's got to be in the encoder.
You could always just override this method and change it.
Yeah. Oh, the draw bracket method. Yeah. It's so close though. There's got to be something. It's so close. All right. Well, you know what? We're close. I'm gonna write up the. So there's 2 issues here to do, and I think I'm gonna know what I'm gonna do, but I might as well put it in the Trello board. One is we need to actually make the drag discrete, and the other is that the bracket's obviously off by half of W, and we have to figure out why that's happening in this subclass and not in the superclass. It's like whittling in code. Okay, so let's do a quick review. I feel like we need to push something at this point. I've got a lot of changes, so let's take a look at what we've done. Oh, look, I've got co-authored by. Isn't that cool? That's awesome. Are these like notes I can put in? That's cool. So I'm gonna take. I guess I can take notes about this. So we've got a new added discrete encoder. That's excellent. Okay, scalar. Get rid of this, get rid of this, get rid of this. Quick check of this. Scalar overlaps, that was a name change. Okay. If I could tie that into my credit rollups, that's a good idea. I wish I could define my own credits, but I don't know how yet. I know how, I just haven't. It would take a lot of manual work. So we're replacing n with encoder n. I feel like there might be somewhere else in here where we have an n that hasn't been converted to encoder n, and that may be the reason why. But we'll figure that out. Right, we changed that key. Encoder n. We simplified this. See, isn't this silly? So we went one direction, and then we went right back the other direction. So we simplified this pretty drastically into just one translation from index that we already had. And then, right, we updated those IDs. change the name. Simple scalar encoder. Just added a default value here. And then encoding numbers. Imports. Oh, we've got no more diagram stubs. Check that out. We've unstubbed everything. 50 to 100. I'm going to put this back. There's no reason to change that right now. I will keep the value seed, category length. Category length parameter. Our new diagram, scalar overlap. And again, I will fix the names up eventually. And we added this so we could snap that around, category length. This will look a lot better with a small W and a few amount of categories. Anyway, okay. That was great. Great. Indifferent host says, is there an explain it like I'm 5 of HTM systems? Yeah, there certainly is. Do you like watching animated videos? Go to HTM School. It's a video series that introduces HTM. See all the episodes and their descriptions. And it starts out really basic with bit arrays. Sparse distributed representations. Why those are important. And then we go through all these encoding things. I'm talking about encoding right now. That's the code that we're running now is doing. It's doing encoding. So we'll talk about different methods of encoding and then spatial pooling. If you continue watching this series, Building HTM Systems on Twitch, I'm going to be building a spatial pooler. So we will get there, and we'll be going through all these algorithms and building them out and visualizing them. That's the whole point of this task that we're working on. Building HTM systems. If you're interested in following along, BHTMS. Here's a link to the GitHub. Ignore every Thursday. It's not every Thursday. It's just whenever I can do it. Yes. That's what this is. Simple HTM. That's what this is supposed to be. This is going to be the JavaScript HTM framework that is going to run building HTM systems. The only thing that I have in here right now is encoders. So when we start encoding algorithms, we'll do it here. So it'll be a different project. It'll be clean. There'll be no UI, none of that stuff. It'll just be clean, and everything will have a test. So I have built these encoders, and I've tested them all pretty thoroughly. It's like the category test we were just working on, for example. Days of the week and the expected encodings, the very explicit tests about this. So I'll continue to do that sort of testing as we go along, because when we create the spatial pooler and we create the receptive field properties and stuff, we should be able to step-by-step test and make sure it's doing exactly what it should be doing, and that's part of the learning process. So this should be fun. Okay, I'm going to commit this. I am going to edit discrete encoder diagram almost, let's say, still has bugs. I'm going to commit this, and then I'm going to create a couple of issues. I'm going to create a couple of issues in Trello. That's going to pop up something on Discord, I think. Yeah. So if you want to join our Discord, by the way, down below the Twitch page, there's a link you can join. And we have a channel in here where I'm talking over, and you can talk to me live if you want. That's how I'm talking to David. And now let's create a couple of quick Trello issues before I sign off that will talk about the last few things that we really should do for this to really call this component, this diagram, complete, because it has bugs. It's not just a display problem. So first of all is a discrete drag. We need something that will pop to these values that actually contain, see, I can't even get to it now. There's one. A discrete drag. So let me add a card for that. Okay, for discrete drag for discrete encoding diagram. I'm going to put this in review. It's not totally done. This is I'm going to call the cyclic encoder done, the continuous overlap encoder done, even though there are some tweaks that could be made to it. I'm just going to call them done. This one is not quite done, but we'll put it in review for now because we're going to come back once this is fixed. This is a diagram bug. Okay. Dragging should snap to the discrete number values as seen at this component right here, figure 9. Figure 9. There should be a copy link address as seen at figure 9 at building HTML systems. Okay. Save. Next time you need Discord volume, Matt. The next time you need to fix the Discord volume. I can't control the Discord volume on David's headset or David's mic. I can only control my own. I could hear him fine. I don't know why you couldn't hear him. Can you can't hear him on the live stream? That's what you're saying. Oh, I got you. So in order to do that, I would need to turn this up, which the music is too loud for you now, I'm sure. So let me turn that down. David, could you speak up and see if Falco can hear you?
Can you hear me?
Does that sound better? Is that a lot louder, hopefully? Yeah, okay. That was it. So I think that people in the live stream might have been having problems hearing you. Sorry about that, you guys. I could still turn the music up a little bit, hopefully. Okay, next time I'll make sure that is working properly. It's a learning process here. Okay, discrete drag, we got that. The other thing that's not working yet is, well, the value's wrong. Luckily, we didn't break this one. It is a little bit off still. You see that? It's a little bit off right there. But I have a bug open for that anyway. That's this bug. Yeah, I think that's the same problem. All right. And it's like I remember fixing that someday, a long time ago. So the other bit was just that the Bezier curve is off, and I don't know why. And I really don't know why. It's just these look fine, and this doesn't for the discrete one, and I'm not sure why. So let's add another one for that. Oh, for this one, by the way, discrete drag, I want to call that a bug. I did call it a bug. Okay. Add another one. Discrete diagram encoding is way off. I'll just leave it at that. Let me drag the picture over here. May be related to now I gotta go back and get it. It might be related to this one. Wow. I'm just trying to copy this card. I don't know what just happened. Trello's doing something magic for me. It may be a case if setting W has an even number solves the problem. It may be. Or the indices are not being integers. It shouldn't be because the indices are not integers, because I'm doing an interpolation and I think probably flooring them or something like that. I don't know. We'll have to look into it. But it may be related to, as I said, this one. So this is a diagram bug, and we will leave it at that. If I come back over the weekend, that's going to be the next stuff that I'm going to work on. If somebody does want to tackle them, you're welcome to it. But if nothing else, I'm going to try and finish up the discrete encoding diagram so we can put it aside and move on. The next one is going to be category encoder, and it's pretty simple, but it's going to be a custom diagram. It's just this little thing that shows a very simple type of category encoding. It's just like here's an example of a typical category encoder. It's a weekday versus weekend encoder. So. Should be revised with bug, but the concept is a clear match. I think I put bugs on these. Is this one a bug? I'm gonna call this a bug too.
Bling.
Oh, thank you for the follow, indifferent host. I like your name. This is a bug too. And we will be back. So my schedule says, and I am sorry, you guys, I'm trying to stick to the schedule, but I'm not very good at it. We did our so the schedule says lofty development Monday. So I'll be back Monday. I assume there's probably going to be a research meeting Monday because today they didn't have one. Partially my fault. But what was that, David?
Was it Monday holiday?
Oh shit, yeah. Monday's a holiday. So there's not going to be a research meeting Monday. For sure, I know there's not going to be one. Let me change that. There will be one Wednesday, I'm sure. I'll change it. It's super easy to change. Monday, I already have one Thursday, so let's move it to Friday. Wait, this is the wrong one. This is the wrong event. This is the one I'm changing. That was close. Edit. Yeah, it'll be fun when we get to spatial poolers. That's when it gets interesting to think about. Like, that's when it gets like brainy. You're like, wow, your brain's really doing this? That's crazy. It is kind of crazy. Okay, so we'll be back doing building HTML systems on Monday. Later Monday, what the heck? This is not the... Oh yeah, then the next Monday we're gonna talk about the fully connected layers, and I think Mark Brown, BitKing's gonna be able to join us on chat for that. But in the meantime, I'll probably do 2 sessions next week of building HTML systems, certainly Monday and probably Thursday or Friday. And that's it. Let's take our 13 viewers and go raid somebody else. Let's raid a science channel. Let's raid Rocket Sage. She's a fun science channel. Let's do that. So, thank you everyone for joining. Let me press the credits button. I don't know how well this is going to work. Room far, let's do this. There we go. Thanks for supporting the stream. Here's everybody who followed during the stream. Quite a few people. Thank you all very much. And subscribers. I subscribed you because you hang around so much. Just like to want to say thanks to all of you guys. When you cut to the next channel, before you guys start chatting or whatever, wait like 5 seconds. Or when I cut to the next channel, okay, I will do that. Or I'll cut my last words. And also, when you go to the next channel, sometimes you'll jump right into an advertisement, which kind of sucks. So, all right, yes, me. All right, you guys take care. We're gonna start the raid. You can go watch Rocket State talk about geology. Take care. Tell her I said hi.
Because it's funny to me, and don't say anything. Like, I'm fucking not going to say anything. Riley! Hi! Thanks for the raid, man. Can I get a shout out for Eric Elick, please? Well cooked potatoes. No, that's just chicken. I'm gonna make a really messy wrap that I might actually inhale off stream because I kind of get sauce like on me and everywhere, and I don't want you guys to see that.